Hi everyone and welcome to Mom Talks. It is December 21st. I hope all of you have your houses cleaned, all your holiday meals cooked, all the presents wrapped. Who's laughing at me? Because I have none of those things done. Anyway, I am so glad you were able to join us. This will be our final episode of the series where we've been talking about all things winter and your kids. We're going to be taking a break for the holidays, and then we will be right back, and I'll have plenty of information for you later on in the episode about what we're going to be covering next. In the meantime, we're going to be talking today about the holidays, the upcoming holidays next week and into the new year. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what's important. In this culture it's very easy to get caught up in the latest gadgets, the latest toys for our kids, and definitely this is something that is not alone to kids. I mean, I think we grown-ups can probably say that we fall victim a little bit too to losing sight a little bit over the holiday season. So today we're going to be talking about kind of refocusing ourselves as families to what's really important and how we can give back and really be in the spirit of the season. So first I'd like to welcome Dr. Lisa Harker. She is a pediatric neuropsychologist. I got it. Yes. There it is. Here at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Hi, are you ready for the holidays?
As ready as I can be.
I know. Sometimes I kind of feel like if you've got it kind of together, the front rooms are clean and the presents are there.
Yes.
You may
not yet wrapped, but there.
Sorry. Okay, so for starters, I know there's a lot of build up to the holidays. I remember when I was a kid, just counting down the days, and oftentimes it came down to what am I going to find under the tree? So how do I kind of refocus my kids' attention away from being totally focused on the presents, knowing presents are fun and they're important, but that it's not the main thing.
Right, yes. So 'tis the season for gifts and everything, and it's everywhere you go.
Yes.
So the best way is, I like to use distraction and to really focus on the giving aspect, not the receiving. And so finding different ways to do that, whether it be making cards for other people, or thinking about working together as a family to go volunteer somewhere, or making and decorating cookies and then giving them out to neighbors or to friends or things like that.
So I remember when I was a kid, I wrote this Christmas list out, and looking back, I think my Christmas list was probably about $500 worth of things. So I had expensive tastes as a child.
Yes.
So how do you kind of manage expectations for your kids, knowing, yes, you're going to get some presents, but you are not getting everything?
Right. So you have to be clear with kids and to talk about that. Otherwise, they will expect to have a big, long list. And so talking about, just as in anything, moderation. So although when we go to an ice cream store, we want to get like 10 scoops of every single kind, talking about, okay, one scoop, what's your very favorite? And so with my kids, we talk about, you can start with a big, long list because you see gifts everywhere, but then really narrowing it down to really your favorites. And in my house, we believe in Santa. So we talk about, well, Santa has to deliver to everyone and all the different kids in the world. And so talking about, okay, for you, what is your one thing that you really want Santa to bring you? And also with family, and thinking about grandparents. So there's a lot of different grandchildren and different members in our family. And so thinking about, okay, they have a lot of people to give for. And so really kind of focusing on their favorite things to put on their wish lists.
I remember my parents kind of would almost make it a choice. They'd be like, okay, you can put this expensive item on your list, but understand that if you get said expensive item, you're probably going to have fewer presents under the tree than maybe your sister will because she asked for a bunch of smaller things. So it was more about managing, this is what we can do, and this is, and this is what we're not going to do.
Right. And that's harder for younger kids to understand, because younger kids see it as, okay, I got 3 gifts and she got 4, and they'll do more of that counting thing. So
absolutely
trying to break it down, or even if it may be throwing in a $1 gift, something from the dollar store or something like that. For the younger ones.
We do have a question. I would like to remind everyone, we are taking questions. We'd love to hear about your family traditions and what you do with your own families to volunteer, to do good works around the holidays, and also how you talk to your kids about presents and things like that. So please send us your questions, send us your comments. Let's listen to this first question.
Question is, what should I say or do if my child acts disappointed or unappreciative after opening a gift?
Oh, it's underwear! Yay!
Yes. So the biggest thing is to really focus on the thought of the gift and the gift giving itself rather than the content. So the biggest thing, I like to tell my kids is really focus on giving that person attention, giving them your eye contact, saying really kind words, and maybe a hug or high five, depending on if they're family or friends, and really focus on that and the thank you and the thought behind it rather than focusing on the content.
I know some people consider this old-fashioned, but I was still required to send thank you notes, and to this day, I find it very important to send thank you notes to make sure people understand that you appreciated them, not only just getting you something, but thinking enough of you to get you something nice for the holidays.
Yes, absolutely. And for younger kids, you can write it out, simply a thank you, and then they have them draw a picture or have them paint a picture, all of that, especially to family members as well as other people. I mean, the thought of that and the art of kids is so adorable.
So I know that the Christmas and the holiday spirit kind of lends itself to kids paying more attention to presents they'd like to get and things like that, and birthdays are the same. How do you kind of temper it throughout the entire year? Are there things you can do so that when December 1st rolls around, they're not like, and here's my list of 5,000 things?
Right. So talking about, again, limit setting throughout the year, and talking about, for my younger one, it's harder to do. And so sometimes we will take pictures of things, like if he wants it, and we'll say, save it for your list, and then later on narrow down the list when we're in stores, if I can't redirect him. For my daughter, she's a little bit older, she's 7, so we do where she gets to, for extra chores and things she does, she gets to earn money. And so talking about, saving her money, and now that she has her own money, and when she asks to buy something and now kind of knows how much it is, well, I don't want to spend my money on that, and that's really expensive, that's 5 allowances. And so kind of understanding the value of things, as well as now that it's her money, she is less likely to just want to spend it on anything, and is more careful.
It changes everything, doesn't it?
Yep.
So what about just having gratitude in general? How can you foster this spirit of being thankful, not only just at the holiday season, but around the year?
Right. So big things is using words. So just saying thank you, giving people eye contact, giving high fives and hugs and things like that. But then also really thinking about thinking about others at this time, and that can really help by seeing what others have and what they don't have, or helping others really helps you kind of appreciate what you have and all your blessings. Things that we've done, in my family at different points, like we've done a blessings jar where talking about, at mealtime, we'll go through and each write down a blessing, and then we'll put it in the blessings jar, and then think, like, you can see it just piling up and see how much we've been blessed and how many things we have in our life, and just really making mention of it and talking about it and just being aware of that really kind of makes you more joyful.
I know in our family we started the tradition of doing, a Toys for Tots or something similar, where we go through, and as our kids get older, we'd like to kind of start having them pick out the toys, and then have to understand, like, these aren't for us, these are for other children who, might not have what you have.
Yep.
So just starting the traditions early for us, and kind of continuing them on. Now, I know around the holiday season, what can also be fun is getting the kids involved with helping out and kind of getting everything ready, to kind of talk again about being together and about being grateful. What are some things you suggest for getting your kids involved?
Yes. So getting them involved and really saying, you're a really important part of the family. We want your help just the same. So like decorating, families are different about how much they decorate or put lights up or things like that. But there's always things for smaller ones up to older ones to do. To think about other things like baking cookies or helping with meals, thinking about helping with even setting the table, or thinking about table arrangements if you have a larger family, or people visiting, all those kind of things. There's so many different ways to get kids involved, even if they're toddler up through adolescence.
Sounds like a great plan. All right, Dr. Harker, thank you. Now, my second guest is Amy, and she is here with the St. Louis Children's Hospital Foundation. We love our foundation here. They do so much great work in our community for really telling our story and helping raise support. So that's kind of like a 10,000 mile high description of what the foundation is. Can you talk a little bit about who the foundation is and what you do?
Absolutely. So for those of you who may not know, St. Louis Children's Hospital is a not-for-profit, and the foundation is actually the philanthropic or fundraising arm that we work with our very generous community of donors to provide a lot of the programs and services that our families not only enjoy, but sets us apart as a children's hospital throughout North America. So we work with our individuals donors, we work with companies, and we work with them both for those monetary gifts as well as for those gifts in kind or donated items that we were talking about.
Very good. And so over the holiday season, I would say back probably starting around Thanksgiving, we started to get a lot of questions about how can I help the kiddos at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And we are so grateful for every single one of you who write in, who bring things to the hospital, who just are thinking about our kiddos over the time, because the reality is there are a lot of our patients and their families who are going to be here over the holiday season, and being in the hospital can be kind of a drag. And so we want to make that time a little brighter for them. So can you talk about some ways, if there's some people out there watching and they want to help out, even though it's December 21st, they're ready to help, are there ways that can help right now?
Absolutely. So whether you're talking about the financial gift, which could be, over the years we've had from a penny or change collection with our kiddos, putting it in a jar and donating that. At the foundation, we feel strongly that every donation counts, and we want to make sure that we recognize and celebrate every donation, from the little ones who want to do something, maybe collecting socks at their school or gloves for some of our kiddos, all the way to those corporations who do employee fundraising. We really celebrate all of that. So there's a couple of ways. Right now we are currently accepting donations for our Guardians Fund, and that is unrestricted dollars that help us meet the needs of the hospital. The other are for those donated items. We have staff here at the hospital through our Child Life Services and our volunteer staff who are always welcome to receive those.
Absolutely. Child Life, I know, is super busy right now. We have Snowflake Village starting today, which is just one of the many opportunities we have to help make the holiday season a little brighter for our families. We have a shop set up on the 11th floor where parents can come in and shop for their kiddos, and all the toys are free of charge. So a lot of people also have been asking us, what if I want to give toys, or what if I want to give books? And while we appreciate every request that comes in, there are some guidelines, because remember, we're dealing with kiddos who, a lot of them have compromised immune systems, and we just have to be careful about the things that we're bringing into their room. So can you tell a little bit about some of the guidelines about giving items?
Absolutely. So like I said, we receive a great number of donated items throughout the year, and even more that are interested and ask questions about how they can provide that. And so a couple of things to keep in mind. As Kendra mentioned, we do have some kiddos that have a range of health needs, and we also want to recognize their privacy. If you've ever been in the hospital, you've probably had a whole slew of people that continually come through your door and are checking things and checking on you, and so we want to provide as much privacy and quiet time as possible for those families. And so a couple of things to keep in mind. We want them to be new toys, so unfortunately we can't accept gently used. I know there are other organizations that can do that, and so we encourage you to think of them. But we need new toys. If they're cloth, like blankets or cats, things like that, we ask that they be washed. They need to be washed first before donated. And as far as, we get this question a lot, that people want to come and they would like to hand out these gifts to the patients, and we completely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And we get that, because that really makes a difference.
It's very sweet.
It is. It's really sweet, and it really helps, especially if you're trying to work with and show gratitude for your younger ones, to try to help them connect. What we find is they need to be 16 years of age or older to come into the hospital, but we really, that's why we have such great staff, that we can collect those for you on your behalf, and we can then distribute those to those areas that mean a lot to you.
Absolutely. And it looks like we have another question.
Where can I go online to give back to Children's Hospital?
Oh,
Great question. We'd love to answer that.
Yes, so we have a brand new website actually, so I would welcome you to go and check it out.
It's fantastic.
It's really fantastic. It's stlchildrens.org/giving. And on there, when you go to that giving page, you can find a link for volunteering, a link for donating of items, and a link for donating online.
So can you talk, I mentioned a little bit about Snowflake Village, but what else does the hospital do throughout the holiday season to make it a little bit of jollier time?
Yeah, so being in the hospital on the best of days is a disruption, and we recognize that. And being here over a holiday is particularly difficult, especially for families to celebrate in the way that they would like to. And so there's a couple of things that we try to make it special. We have volunteers and staff on every floor in every department that try to bring cheer to all the families. But every December we have 2 events that really make things special. One is Snowflake Village, currently going on. The other is every December we kick off the holidays by putting on a Love Light event. And we just had it earlier this year. It's our over 30 years of having it here at the hospital, and it was created by a volunteer and a volunteer group with the foundation years ago, and it started as simple as going to Venture at the time and picking up a few toys and bringing it to the hospital and putting strings of lights up. Now it is a full event where we have characters coming and visiting the patients and the families. And for families that are able and patients that are able, they join us downstairs in the cafeteria for snacks and refreshments and entertainment. And we have a patient that flips the switch and all of the lights come on in the hospital to help celebrate the holiday season. It's really magical.
It is beautiful.
It's a beautiful, beautiful event. The families love it. And this year we had, I think, more characters than ever.
Yes, we had lots of characters.
Stormtroopers.
I got to walk around with Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Peppa the Pig.
Celebrities.
Yes. Absolute princesses galore.
Princesses. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I know we've also had the question about what if I want to come volunteer in the hospital?
Mhm.
Can you do that?
Yes. So, again, holidays are always asking those questions. The Volunteer Services Department at the hospital, they are amazing, and they work tirelessly to make sure that our hospital has the best volunteers year-round. And although we don't accept volunteers that are just what we would call episodic or just for the holidays, we are always encouraging people to come and check out what we do have availability on our website that I mentioned before, stlchildrens.org/giving, click on volunteer. And so for those who are interested in doing more for the hospital, maybe this makes the conversation in the family, they start talking about it around the holidays, and it's something they want to incorporate as a family in 2019. What you can do is we have, first you would talk to someone on our staff, and then you would sign up for an orientation to learn more. Volunteers need to be 16 years of age or older, and for adults, so those that are not students, we ask that you are able to commit to a year, and that's coming in a couple of hours a week. The volunteer services staff would assign you or help you find a task that works really well with your personality and the way that you want to give back. And we also find that consistency not only helps with the volunteer, because it's a lot to learn a hospital.
Yes.
Where to
It's
go,
a big building.
how to get there, and what the programs and services are, and the best way to help families. It also helps with the families and the staff to get to know you a little bit better. And for our 16-year-olds or our students that are through college, we know breaks and holidays can be tough, especially those that travel, so we ask for 2 semesters as a commitment.
Very good. If you're watching this and you're thinking about it and you want to ask some more questions later on, please go ahead and put those questions in the comment section. We'll make sure to get to those. So that's going to wrap up this series of Mom Talks for this week. We're going to take a break next week so we all can enjoy some time with our families. And then we're going to be back with our new series, Safe at Home. And this is going to circle, at least in the beginning, largely around younger children who are into everything. So as many of you know, my daughter is 17 months old. And so we're going to be talking in the beginning a little bit about things like safe sleep. Do I really have to put my daughter on her back when she goes to sleep? Or, What's with those bumpers? Can I put bumpers in the crib? Can I put her favorite stuffed animal in the crib with her to go to sleep? And then we're also going to be doing a variety of other topics, baby-proofing your home. And then we'll move into other topics like teaching CPR. And then we've even got things for teens at the end where we're going to be talking about, is my child ready to babysit or be home by themselves? What do I need to do to have that conversation with my child and make sure that they are okay if I'm not home? So we hope that you will join us. Our first episode, I'm just making sure that I have this right, will be Friday, January 4th at our normal time, 11 o'clock. And we will be at Safety Stop in the hospital, and we will be talking about safe sleep. So I hope you join us. Hope you have lots of questions, lots of comments, and looking forward to having a great conversation. In the meantime, happy holidays. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.